because do you track macros?
No.
Neither of us track macros. It's working out pretty well.
Say so. Especially for you.
Welcome to another episode of the CBG Radio Podcast. Well, it's just me and Gab today, but that's okay because we are going to be joined by someone special, really special to Gab. Right, Gab? I mean, you guys have been kind of tight for a while, I guess. We'll find out what the story is. But we've got a CBG client, and according to Gab and Justin, she is absolutely killing it. So all the other CBG clients that are watching this, you should be jealous because no, just kidding.
Oh boy.
Right.
Any of my clients listening, please. I love all my children equally. It's fine. But no, I'm excited for this person to come on because she has truly been an exemplary client, and really goes to show what you get when you put the work in.
Yeah, for sure. So you're going to be inspired, not jealous, right? Yes. All right. Because everyone should be jealous of me because I'm clearly your favorite. So, all right. Anyways, don't eye roll. Do not eye roll.
Get me in trouble.
Let's bring her in here. Zoe, welcome to
Hey
you.
guys, that was quite the introduction. I feel a little flattered right now.
Yeah, I try to be the hype man and make it super exciting, and and then Gab usually tells me something that I said wrong. One time I tried to do a New York accent and it went really bad.
No.
Yeah,
yeah.
So that was not good. But
one time, Zoe, he said, "Do you guys have Mexican food in New York City?" And I was like,
"That's not what I said."
That is what you said.
I mean, I would have the same question, like
chain restaurants, like Mexican chain Mexican restaurants. Okay, so you are from Texas, right?
Well, I'm from California, which is even more Mexican food capital. But yeah, I live in Texas now, and that's a lot of Mexican food going on.
Right. So there's but they're like the chain restaurants that have all the same type of stuff. You know what I mean?
Like Los Cucos and all the different places.
Yeah, El Rancho Grande, Acapulco, So I'm trying to visualize that they don't have. I'm thinking there's no way they have these kind of restaurants in the middle of New York City.
Well,
right?
I've never been
because I've never heard of any of those.
Okay, so see, it's valid.
Yep,
fine.
I didn't say Mexican food. I was talking about the restaurants. Gab, jeez. All right.
Well, the way he phrased it, anyway.
Does Gab look like she eats Mexican food restaurants, especially chain restaurants? I don't think so.
No, probably not.
Gab eats her meal prep and her meal prep only.
It's unfortunately very true.
I've seen pictures of her fridge.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you could do do you want to do a plug of the meals that you use a lot?
Yeah, for sure. So they're hyper local to New York City and the surrounding area. So if you are from anywhere else, then it probably doesn't matter. But I use a company called Redefined Meals. They're amazing. They're the best, and I love them. But if you live anywhere outside of that area, then it doesn't really matter.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, Zoe, what, how, I guess because I saw one of your posts on Instagram, and it said that you had come a long way on your own. So kind of take me through what started your health and fitness journey.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've been doing CrossFit since the dawn of CrossFit, pretty much. Maybe not the dawn, but very, very early on I started. So peak Rich Froning, Jason Khalipa days,
Yeah.
So that's around 2012-ish.
Okay.
Is when I started, and I was playing collegiate volleyball and doing all this stuff. And
who'd you play for?
A community college.
Okay. Counts.
The community Cuesta College, home of the Cougars.
There you go.
But so I played volleyball very competitively, growing up, club and school, and then went on. My club coach was the coach at the college, so I kind of got an in there. But through all of that, I was doing CrossFit and absolutely loved it. And then I, through college and stuff, did an internship program to become a coach at my gym. And then I got my level 1 and all of that stuff. And then I got married and I moved across the country and I started having kids and stopped working out. The natural progression, right? So then I ended up having 3 kids, like pretty much back to back to back. So like 5 to 7 year period of just like being in the trenches and being pregnant, breastfeeding, and then being pregnant again, and then breastfeeding, and then being pregnant again, and just like, 3 times. So, and each time it was like, oh, I can't wait to start working out again. And then, life happens. And so finally, long story short, in the beginning of 2023, and there's a before and after picture, I think that I sent to Gab, from this was like, I told her this was like my rock bottom moment when I took these pictures. And I can remember like this feeling that I had when I took these pictures. Like I was so depressed, and like in my personal life, there was just like 1,000 other terrible things going on. And I was just like, I finally got like tired of it. And it is not that one. That one is that one's more recent. That one right there, the one on the top. Yeah, at the top of that reel, the top left, when it starts out. It's that one where I'm kind of turned to the side. Yeah. So that was like my rock bottom moment where I was just like, are we allowed to say bad words on this podcast?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to
Joel's grandma listens, but like, it's okay. She'll get over it. Love you, grandma.
I always give the caveat that you're free to say what you want, but my mom is she's a supporter. She supports her boys. Okay. My mom is watching. So.
Okay. Sorry, Joel's mom and grandma. I got so fucking tired of my own bullshit and excuses. And that's like that picture right there in the top left is like, that was my like rock bottom moment where I was like, I'm so tired of this. I'm going to start doing something. So when I said that I got so far on my own, that was January that I took that picture, January 2023. I started going to Crunch Gym again. I just wanted to start moving. My goal was always to go back to CrossFit. I missed it so much.
Is Crunch like a Globo type gym?
Crunch, like Planet Fitness, like they have like, cheap memberships. Yeah. But they have everything you could possibly need, at the gym. And so I started going back to Crunch, and I look back at some of my pictures of like, I'd take a picture of my watch, after, and it's like, you burned 150 calories. And looking back at that, I'm like, oh, that's so silly. But I was doing something, right? Like I wanted to start, I was coming off of having kids and like having not worked out for like 5 or 6 years at that point, really, like of just being fat and depressed. Like that's how I felt. And, so I started going back to Crunch and did a little bit here. I even like hired their trainer there, even though I was like, I know what I'm doing. Like, I just need to remember like how to do this. Like, I just need, if I could just have someone tell me what to do to get me through this period of like getting back into things, and then I'll be good, So I paid for that for a few months. And then we ended up moving, buying a house. And then once my daughter was turning 5, and so she was going to be starting kindergarten. So I was like, okay, that fall is when I'm going to go back to CrossFit. And so I went to Crunch Gym and like did the best that I could. And a lot of it was diet, really, because honestly, like Gab knows, that's what fat loss is really about, is more of your diet than anything. And so I just focused on like trying to eat a crap ton of protein and cut out like anything fried, high fat foods. And I just tried to eat a shit ton of protein. And, I'm a girl who likes to eat. Like I enjoy eating. Like I can eat a lot. Like we're talking about Mexican restaurants, like a Mexican restaurant hates to see me come in. Like I will be ordering the enchiladas, give me the 3 plate, give me the rice and beans, give me chips and queso, like all this stuff. So obviously like portion control was a huge thing. So during that time period, I just tried to like control myself and just focus on protein and freaking like not eating French fries anymore and not eating cereal late at night. Cause that's the other thing that I love is a good late night bowl of cereal.
Hey, I feel you on that. That's why we put cereal in the house, because
I can't. I literally can't. It cannot be in the house, or I will eat the entire box. Yeah. So
I prefer cereal at night more than I do in the morning.
Absolutely. I don't want cereal in the morning. No, I want it like late at night when I'm watching my comfort TV show.
Exactly.
Yeah. But so during that time, I lost like, I don't know, I think like 27 pounds or something on my own. Started back to CrossFit that fall. And then, so that was like September, and I was going 3 days a week. And one of the coaches there, I had talked to her about kind of helping me with like kind of some macro stuff. So I was trying to track things, I was using my Fitness Pal. Yeah, we don't say that's a bad word here at
Right.
CBG.
That's worse than the F word that you dropped, right?
It's all, yeah. The what is it? MFP. We'll just call it MFP.
The app which shall not be named.
Yeah, the app which shall not be named. The app which shall be deleted from everyone's phone.
Yeah.
Eventually, right? But that's the progression we have to take, right? So took that progression and was tracking my macros and whatever, and I was doing pretty good. And then I started getting these ads for this company.
Sure. Yeah.
Whoa. Do you do 4 to 5 wads a week and want to look like it? Hell yeah. So I'm getting these ads, and it's like, I don't know. So now we're into like January of 2024. And that's when I upped my membership to the unlimited. I started going 5-6 days a week to the gym, to the CrossFit, and still like trying to track and do all this stuff. And then I think it was the beginning of summer that I started looking into CBG. I did some research on it, started following their page and all of that. And I just got to a point where I was like, okay, I've lost a good amount of weight now on my own. I'm doing it in the gym. Like, I'm making all this progress. And I just felt like I was getting to a point where I was either going to like plateau and get stuck or like go backwards, I've made all this progress. So now I'm getting comfortable, right? I'm getting like complacent.
Mhm.
And
so it was like you were ready for like something to kind of take you to the next level.
Yeah. Like, I just felt like I did all this stuff on my own and used what knowledge I had and did the best that I could with the tools that I had. Right. And just felt like I was ready for someone to like push me and like help me really dial in. Cause like I wanted to start competing again and like getting more serious about it. So, and then obviously like aesthetically, I want to look a certain way. And I just felt like I needed help to get to that point. So that's when Gab came into my life. And my life changed forever. And so I think I signed up. I think we started like the very beginning of July, right? Last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's how I got here.
Cool. So then, all right. So then what did you see? What happened for you then? Like once you, was that kind of like a shock to you? So coming from like the MyFitnessPal, tracking macros, like when she delivers the blueprint and like explains how the blueprint works, was there like a culture shock for you kind of in a way? Like, whoa, wait a minute. This is way different than what I'm used to.
Yeah, I think we had a good little learning curve there, right? Like I wasn't that bad, right?
No. But I do want to interject because I think that there's a really like funny anecdote about what happened when Zoe and I first started. And I'm going to like butcher this story because this is my understanding of how it happened. But I remember Zoe had recently bought a food scale from like a TikTok ad. And the food scale was like this really cool high-tech thing where you tell it what food you're putting on. So you can say like steak or chicken or whatever. And you put it on the scale and it tells you how many calories, how many grams of fat, how many grams of protein, which is
it's really cool.
It's awesome.
Pretty cool.
It's guessing. Like there, you can't tell the same way that when we step on the bathroom scale, it can be like, oh, you're this much muscle, but like it doesn't know. Like that is such a difficult estimation and it requires so much nuance that like it doesn't really know. But initially, Zoe was like, I'm going to use this scale. And I'm going to be able to like be sure that my macros are correct. And I was kind of like, girlfriend, I didn't give you macros. Like, you can do that if you want.
Out of my head,
right?
like I didn't understand.
And what happened was in the beginning, we were not really seeing results because we were so focused on the scale and the weighing and the numbers. And when I was finally like, listen, the reality of the situation is like, this is an estimation based on weekly averages. So you're trying to be precise with something that is an estimation. So what I'm going to need you to do is trust me, like let go, let me be in the driver's seat. And then all of a sudden it was like Zoe's weight just started dropping. And like it was night and day. And really sort of, for me, I've been doing this for a long time, but it was really the first time that it truly occurred to me, like really, really, really cemented for me that tracking macros does way more harm than good. That the pursuit of perfection is really the issue, because when we pursue perfection, two things happen. Number one, we don't get there. But number two, the feeling of it's not perfect is what leads us to say, well, screw it, I'm just going to do whatever I want anyway. And so the fact that Zoe couldn't get perfection, she just had to trust the process, is why she was so successful. And it was like, it blew my mind. It was like right out in front of me. Like, this is why we do what we do.
That's awesome.
No, there was definitely a big change once I was like, okay, fine. I stopped using this stupid scale. And then I was like, oh, this is actually way less stressful for me personally. And for you probably too. Because I was like, oh, you just wait. You want me to just do what you're telling me and what I'm paying you for? That's so weird. Why would I? That's
crazy,
so
right?
So where is the Instagram scale now?
Oh, it's in a drawer. I don't actually, sometimes I use it when I want to like just measure the like meat or like chicken or whatever, but I really don't. It has like an app on the phone. I thought it was really cool. Okay.
It's cool.
I don't even think the app's on the phone anymore.
Yeah.
I do want to say, like, just for clarity purposes, there's no virtue in like estimating everything. Like, I think that you can weigh your meat to make sure you have an appropriate amount. You can weigh things to make sure you're eating the same amount throughout all 3 meals. Like, there's nothing wrong with using those tools. It's just living by those tools where it becomes problematic. Because the first time I remember thinking to myself, like, when she goes to a restaurant, is she taking the scale with her? Like, how is this going to go?
Right.
Yeah.
No need.
When we still use a scale sometimes for like if we're like trying to prepare food, like for our breakfast now, which if you're watching this and there's a previous episode that came out where I actually got my breakfast, this new breakfast got a rating from Justin and Gab. They rated my breakfast and I actually did pretty good. So, but we use the, so go check that out if you're watching this and you didn't see that. But I still use a scale for stuff like that, because when you're measuring out egg whites, it's kind of, so I just use the scale to measure out my egg whites and it's no big deal.
Yeah.
So,
but no, there was definitely like a learning curve of like just the system and like the blueprint, like you mentioned. Like, I was like, wait. So like we had a whole talk about my hands. I have really large hands, guys. And Gab was like, oh my God, you do have big hands. Cause I showed her like my hand next to like some other item. And she was like, oh, so maybe just like do like a normal person's hand. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. But so
I was like, oh,
that figured out, she was like, damn.
Yeah, that's funny.
But yeah, once we figured that out, then it was okay. But yeah, no, there was a definite learning curve. Like that was kind of a shock to me to like, what? You just want me to like do like a handful of this and like a palm of this? But obviously it works. So whatever it is, it works.
What other things did you see performance wise?
Oh my God. Like, first of all, I think I texted Gab one time when I was like, I feel like I could run through a freaking wall right now. Like, I feel like a superhuman and like I could lift like all the weights in the world. Like, I felt so just like, not just like fed, but like nourished and like fueled. And like I had like energy and like I have 3 kids and I also work and go to the gym and like all this stuff. And like I had no problems like going to the gym and crushing a PR in the middle of the day. And so, yeah, I saw tons of PRs.
That's awesome.
On like like across the board, like all my lifts, huge.
Do you, I feel like you're showing a lot of squats. Like, is that like one of your favorite
Okay, right now we're in the middle of a squat program, which is a back and a front squat program, and it's twice a week. So like literally all I ever do is squat anymore. So a lot of my videos from like recently are a lot of squatting. But,
okay. Well, and I wasn't sure if like are you just trying to like flex on your squat depth? Because every one of your squat videos shows
that is one thing that I'm very proud of is that one thing about me is I'm gonna hit that depth, okay?
Yeah, I was like scrolling through it and like every tile had a squat photo.
I'm so glad that you noticed. Well, because I'm not going to post. It's a squat, right? You're going to post the bottom, not the top, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, so because otherwise people may not know that you're actually squatting, right?
Right. They may not know. They'll think I'm just like,
so I was like,
maybe
man,
I'm going to like behind the neck jerk that much weight.
Yeah.
This relationship would not be where it is if her squat depth wasn't good enough.
That's
like, let's just make that clear.
That's good to know. Yes, I'm very strict on the squat depth. I coach at my gym too a couple days a week. In the 5:30 a.m. the crazy class, and they know that I'm a stickler for squat depth. So I'll know.
You know what? One thing that I feel like everyone doesn't hit depth on is wall balls, and it drives me nuts. No one is squatting right on wall balls.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
And then I always give the announcement like, if there's really like maybe only a couple people and everybody knows who those couple people are, but like I try to do like a general announcement. Hey, remember it's quality over quantity here. So let's make sure we're getting to depth on these wall balls. And sure enough,
and everyone's like, yeah, for sure.
So, all right, awesome. So what message? Let's get a little deep here.
Okay.
All right. So. What message would you give to moms then? Because I feel like you've got 3 kids. So like most people, like you said, you probably had all the excuses and everyone.
Oh yeah, I had every single one.
Them. Like everyone would have been like, "Oh, girl, you got 3 kids. We get it."
Yeah.
So like, what's your message to moms then?
And people did tell me that. Isn't that a weird thing? Like what you just said. Like you gave me an out. Like why? Like why do we do that for people? Like, you don't need to worry about it. Like I'm not judging you, or like, you've got a lot going on. It's totally understandable. Like, yes, it's understandable, but if I want something, I need to make it a priority, right?
Yeah.
So I think the biggest thing, and this would go for not just moms, but like literally anyone that wants to do this or like has a goal for something, like I had to come to the realization that no one else was going to do it for me. And I had to put in the work and I had to stop basically. And I think that I've used this as a caption a few times on some of my videos. Like I stopped putting up with my own bullshit and with my own excuses. And that's when the change started to happen, because you have to realize no one's going to do it for you. Gab's not going to do it for me. My coach isn't going to do it for me. My spouse is not going to do it for me. They might be supportive and they might help me. But at the end of the day, I am the one making decisions on what do I do if I get my ass up and I go to the gym, how hard I try in the gym, what I'm going to eat. Am I going to be prepared and I'm going to go to the grocery store, or am I going to freaking hit a drive-through like I've been doing? Because obviously what I've been doing is not working. And so it's like it just comes down to putting your own bullshit aside and putting in the work. Like there's no other there's no other way around it. There's no other way to put it. You yourself and only you are in control of your success. And so once you have that, like come to Jesus moment, which I've told Gab, like I've had that, like I had to stop making excuses for myself. I don't give a shit if I'm tired. Everyone else has kids. Everyone else has problems. Everyone else has stress, work, blah, 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 blah. Like once you finally put all that aside and say, okay, I'm ready to do this and commit to doing it, then the change is going to happen. And that's what's going to happen. And like Gab and I have talked about it too. Like I'm paying you to help me. And that's part of like listening to you. Like I think at one point I told you like, whatever, I don't agree with what you're saying, but I'm going to do what you're saying. Right. Like we had a disagreement on something. Yeah, we had a disagreement on something that I was like not willing to give up. And I finally was like, why am I fighting her?
Agree with you.
Yes. But I finally was like, why am I fighting her? Like, I'm paying her. She knows what she's talking about. Obviously I'm paying her because I don't know what I'm talking about. And so I'm going to do what she says, and I'm going to do this, this, and this by the book. And then we're going to see what happens. And obviously a lot of good stuff happened. Right. So
Yeah.
that's kind of my
thing
driving point.
about Zoe is that from day one, Zoe has been extraordinarily conscientious. And that is my favorite word, because what conscientious means is she wants to do it well. She wants to do the work, because I could write a blueprint for anybody, and it can be the most perfect, wonderful, like exemplary blueprint of all time. I really thought I was going to nail that. And if you don't want to follow it, if you'd rather go through the drive-through, then nothing on that piece of paper is going to make a difference. But I remember at one point Zoe was going camping or doing something where like she was like, well, the only food they're going to have is whatever. And I was like, well, it sounds like you have to bring your own food then. And like she did. And it was like,
bet.
Yeah.
So easy.
Yeah, all my food.
She
Yeah.
prepped these meals and had breakfast and lunch and dinner. And did you enjoy and indulge in a couple of things while you were
I had
gone?
a s'more. Yeah, I had a s'more. It was so
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It was
But
great.
you know
Loved
what?
it.
There was no part of Zoe that was like, well, there's nothing I can do because, this is just where I'm going. And so I guess I'm just going to have to eat like an asshole. Like, no, it didn't happen. She made it work. And, I'm
And
not
honestly,
suggesting
it made
that
my life easier. Like it made the whole trip easier because I wasn't stressed out the whole time too.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm cool. I got my food. I'm chilling. You guys, whatever.
it just like Zoe, you want to do it and you want to get the results and you're enjoying the process. Like you meal prep, you put together new recipes. And I'm not suggesting that you have to be good in the kitchen to be successful, but you certainly have to put in some effort because there is no magic solution. And where I think a lot of people fall into a trap is they want to get a blueprint that says you can do what you're doing. You're just going to change it a little bit. And like, no, you have to make changes. And so for you, like the old Zoe was not bringing food camping. Like it wasn't going to happen, but you needed to make changes because you had to become a different version to get the results you wanted. And you did. And I just think like people can really learn, like you are an inspiration because you are busy. You are not, sitting around like playing cards all day. You are working. I mean, how many times have I gotten voice notes from you where you're driving from one location to the other, or you're going to pick up your kids, you're going to work, you're doing this, you're going to the gym, like you make it work. And you're just a classic example of like anybody can do this if they're willing to be conscientious.
You're so sweet.
I mean it, girl. I love you.
Yeah, but no, you're not wrong. Like you have to, like you said, like the old me was not doing that. So I need to stop doing that because obviously what the old me doing was making me fat and miserable, right? Like I wasn't getting the results that I wanted with whatever I was doing or what old me was doing. So you have to just be like, okay, I'm going to follow this plan and this is what I'm going to do. And I don't have a choice.
Hell yeah. Yep.
There you go.
Boom.
All right. Well, that's awesome, Zoe. What a awesome story. Thank you for coming to share it with us. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. This was so fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So yeah, if you are watching this and you are inspired by Zoe and you're not a CBG client, well, then you need to click the link that's in the description and book a call. Book a call and find out learn how CBG can help you. So just like it did with Zoe. So Zoe, again, thank you so much for being a part of this. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. Appreciate it.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Bye.
So I'll end it there. So for Gab, for our new friend Zoe, I'm Joel, and we will catch you next time. Quit tracking those macros. We'll see you next time. Peace out.